experience. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's just the approach of mental health currently is so atomized, and it's kind of clear that community, what happens before, what happens after, that kind of ongoing journey is really important.
Yeah. So I mean, atomize is so the right word. It's so kind of, yeah, it's so sad in a way what's happened. Like this, the loneliness is so like integral now to our society. Like we are so atomized and so separate, and it's so, yeah, strange in a way that kind of our mental health treatment is an individual person in a room that's separated from the person they're with because of these, boundary differences and all these rules around it. And we're so isolating people from their context and thinking that will help, but yeah.
Yeah, it's quite preposterous, really. I think what is interesting again is that what psychedelics, potential of psychedelics within psychiatry offer is this kind of radical rethink, and on so many levels, not just about community, but also the notion that what was once considered pathology or demonized or pathologized, like the mystical experience, that was kind of like, oh, that way madness lies, is now considered like the medicine, which is like, so we've already come a long way. I mean, obviously it hasn't been fully taken up, but it seems to be moving in that direction. Did you monitor them? You didn't actually measure the mystical experience per se in those studies, did you?
We did. We used the mystical experience questionnaire. And I'm just trying to think about, I mean, well, I think we found that in the first study anyway, the we had a lower incidence of mystical experience than the Johns Hopkins studies. I think that's in both studies. And that's, I think, again, it's like what I was saying about the container. In the Johns Hopkins studies, they have like a Buddha in the room, and the playlist is very much kind of rapturous, spiritual, mystical music. It's kind of.
You had Mendel's drones.
Yeah, exactly. We had actually no, we didn't. We used a different playlist actually, but it was. I would say the playlist was much more. It was much more kind of. It was less external, mystical, and much more introspective and kind of bittersweet, sad kind of. And I think people in our studies have much more of experience of autobiographical experiences. Most people in most of the sessions had experiences of remembering big traumas in their life, reflecting on their depression, understanding their depression more, sometimes reflecting on, the kind of the love they had for those that were close to them, and there were mystical elements in there too. But I would say that it was much more autobiographical generally. And that might be because of the dose as well, because it wasn't super high. It was 25 milligrams. It could, if it was more like 30, 35 even, you'd have got more mystical experiences, I think.
I guess also the set and the setting, it's about the kind of intentions as much as anything. Obviously, the Hopkins studies were geared towards inducing mystical experiences. This, you've got a clinical sample who are looking to deal with their depression. So, of course, they're going to have to go into their traumatic memories. And we actually spent a little bit of time working together on this LSD study where we're looking at creative problem solving, with lower doses. And, of course, that was the focus of their experience. And that's where they went. They didn't really have very mystical experiences. They were having, I'm having lots of great ideas about quantum physics, Yeah. So, the intention you bring to it really is going to see the kind of journey you're going to have to some extent, of course. It's not totally discrete, of course. You can have an experience and have all the mystical bits, childhood memory traumas, and some quantum physics thrown in, all in one night or day, if you do it in a clinical trial.